Yo, what's happening, guys? So a player who's being linked with a whole host of clubs today is Djed Spence. This includes the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, who he happens to support, and even Bayern Munich. Now, I've been following this lad for the last couple of seasons, and I have to say the sky is the limit for him. He is going to become a household name without a shadow of a doubt. Now, for those of you unaware about him, he was at Fulham's academy as a 16-year-old, but got released due to hefty competition within their youth ranks. He was eventually snapped up by Middlesbrough at the age of 18, and he started off quite well, pretty inconsistent, which is to be expected at his age, but it's his off-the-pitch issues which started cropping up. He was late for team meetings, even got involved in an accident involving an electric scooter, which saw him labelled as a slightly disruptive influence. His former manager Neil Warnock even told TalkSport that, "I let him go. He needed to sort himself out, really. I basically said to him that you can go to the top or you can go non-league. It's entirely up to you." With this in mind, Nottingham Forest took him on loan at the start of this season, and he has been nothing short of sensational. Just last month, for March 2022, he won the Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, as well as the Young Player of the Month. The championship has come on leaps and bounds over the last few years, and there's been a whole host of players who have stepped up to the Premier League level, so that is no mean feat. The biggest accolade of them all, however, was him being a part of the championship team of the season. He was also nominated for the championship young player of the season, although he missed out on that to Forest teammate Brennan Johnson, another young, exciting winger. You should definitely check him out if you haven't heard about him before. Aside from that, he was hugely impressive during Forest's cup run, played against the likes of Arsenal, in which Ian Wright said it was one of the best performances he'd seen from a right back in years, and Leicester, in which he ended up getting on the score sheet. You'd think Middlesbrough would be kicking themselves for letting him go, given they're both fighting it out for promotion, but the emergence of Isaiah Jones, who's a great player in his own right, has softened the blow as he's made the right wing-back spot his own for Borough. Did have the option to recall him in January, but they opted against it, as that would have likely upset the player as well as potentially hindered the development of both these kids. Now, from watching him play, two things that stand out immediately are number one, his unbelievable athleticism, and number two, his desire to improve. He was previously a winger, but coaches noted he played a lot better when seeing the game in front of him. He's constantly making overlapping runs, which is a dream for the right winger. No one can catch him, and he delivers balls on the move, which is not an easy task whatsoever. He's one of those new breed of fullbacks who have you on the edge of your seat, something which you could have never have imagined like a decade ago when you had the likes of Gary Neville running down the flanks. He loves tormenting opposition defenders, which is shown by the fact that he's got the most dribbles both attempted and completed in the league by a considerable distance. He's also got great recovery pace when Forest do end up losing possession, and an abundance of skill. He can drop his shoulder, step over, go inside or outside. Defensively, he's no mug either. Doesn't pull out of a tackle. I've been impressed with his one-on-one defending. He's decent on the back post, extremely strong in the air. He's over 6 feet tall. There's nothing I've really noticed which you could call a weakness. Based on anecdotal evidence from youth coaches, they've mentioned games against the likes of Everton and Chelsea where he dominated Anthony Gordon and Callum Hudson-Odoi, neither of which really need an introduction for Premier League viewers. Even Gabriel Martinelli in that FA Cup game, he had him on toast, couldn't get anywhere near him, and that's a guy who's troubled the best of the best. Within that same game, he had a moment where he dribbled past 3 Arsenal midfielders, and he also nutmegged Odegaard at the end of it. He was absolutely unbelievable. So it does appear that he can compete with the very, very best. He's quite shy in front of the camera, however. He's been under the media spotlight a lot more given these performances. And one of his comments which stood out to me is when he said, "I always want to push myself and play with the best players and best team. Of course, it's an ambition of mine to play in the Premier League. I try to stay level-headed. I don't read into it too much because at the end of the day, I'm just here to enjoy my football. I need to stay focused, have tunnel vision, play well on the pitch, and the rest will take care of itself." A lot of maturity for a man so young, and I am certain we're going to be seeing him in the Premiership next season. In terms of his output, he has 38 appearances, 2 goals and 5 assists. Honestly, it should really be 9 assists. However, the Championship and other leagues as well don't really give credit for own goals, of which there was 4 of them. Also won his first England under-21s cap last month during a 3-0 victory away to Albania. So he's got some international experience under his belt. His current contract with Middlesbrough expires in 2024, and he's going to be available for around £15 million. That's an absolute bargain in this current climate for a young Englishman. We know how much this homegrown status is becoming a big issue, especially post-Brexit. So I'm sure plenty of clubs are going to be after him. He's also eligible to play for Kenya, which might not be the worst idea given the plethora of options that England have and the level of competition he is going to face for the senior side. All in all, he's been the best player for a team that's flying high in the second half of the championship after loitering in the relegation zone for the beginning of it. Whether it's with Forest if they end up getting promoted or one of the aforementioned clubs within the top 6, we will be seeing a lot more of him next season. On a side note, I really hope Nottingham Forest end up getting promoted because they're not only a big and historic club, but they've got a really nice set of young players who are up and coming, and they're playing an exciting brand of football under Steve Cooper. Please let me know if you want to know anything else. He's going to be playing tonight against Fulham away for Nottingham Forest. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on that Man City against Real Madrid tie, but I highly suggest you keep it on in the background because this is going to be worth watching. I'm certainly going to do so. All the very best, guys. Take care.